All right, when you're doing a steak, the key to a steak is to make sure your pan is very hot so you can sear the steak at start. So I'm going to turn this pan to, instead of medium, I'm going to go about a medium high, and I'm going to let that preheat for a good 2 to 3 to 4 minutes until I can feel the lid, and the lid's real hot to the touch. Now while your pan is preheating, what you want to do is you want to take your steak and you want to add your rub that you want to it. In this case, you could use anything you like. Some people like to use marinades and stuff. I'm going to put just a little bit of Goya on each side of the meat. And what I want to do when I put the Goya on this meat is I want to make sure it's evenly covered. And then I'm going to rub that into the meat till it almost disappears. Because if it rubs into the meat, I don't have to worry about all that stuff sticking to my pan and then not being on my meat when it's done. Okay, but if I put it on there and just let it white and throw it in there, a lot of that stuff will stick to the bottom of the pan and not be on my meat. Now the first time I had this just with Goya, I thought, oh, this can't be good just with Goya only. It is freaking good. This steak, when it's seared shut, will be juicier than a steak that comes off the grill, cooked off the grill. And a well-done steak out of Saladmaster is juicier than a medium steak is off the grill because we sear the steak shut and all the juices stay inside the meat. All right, so now we got that thing. As far as I'm concerned, if you want to jazz it up a little bit more, you could, but I'm just going to stop there. I just put a glazing of the Goya on both sides, kind of rubbed it into the meat until it kind of vanishes into the meat. And now I'm going to just wait for my pan to be ready to cook. This particular steak, we're going to make some baby portobellos, and we're going to make a mushroom sauce to go with our steak. So here what we're going to do is we're going to take our number 4 cone, and you can place as many as you like in the back of your hopper here. And then you just run it through on the 4-blade, and it'll slice them all thin and even. And the food cut evenly cooks evenly. So we're just going to do that with all our mushrooms. If you're the type of person that likes yours whole, you can actually just pull the stems out and cook the caps just like that and have giant pieces of mushroom for your steak. But in this situation, we're going to use the stems and everything and cut everything on the 4-blade all the way through. Now what's nice is to make our sauce is when we get done browning this steak in the Saladmaster pan, it's going to leave a really kind of an ugly looking brown tint to the bottom of the pan. It looks like it's going to be hard to wash. We're going to deglaze that. If you used like a nice red wine sauce, that's how you'd make your mushroom gravy. Kind of deglaze with a little wine. You make your mushroom gravy, and then you use a little thickening agent like starch to thicken it up a little bit with your portobellos, and then you pour that back over your steak and have like a Marsala gravy. We're going to use a little beer and do more of a beer flavored deal today, just because it's more convenient in this case. If you put your lid on an empty pan and the valve starts to click on the pan, that means your pan is way hot enough to sear the steak shut. Okay, see how there's nothing in there? Okay, I'm going to take this thing and I'm going to press it right into the bottom of the pan. It's going to smoke like crazy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cover that with a lid to keep that smoke down to a minimum. We're going to let that cook 3 minutes now. In 3 minutes we are going to turn our steak, and you're going to see it has a nice brown hue to it, which means it's been seared shut. So we need to go 3 more minutes, and then we're going to take the steak out, and we're going to cut it to see if it's the rareness that we want, whether it be medium rare, medium well. Some people like their steak well done. By cooking it this way, even a well done steak will be so juicy that you can't tell that it's not medium rare. So for those that don't like any pink in their steak, this is a nice way to cook it where it's very, very tender and juicy. And still, you're not giving up any flavor. You're cooking 3 minutes per side. That's going to maybe make your steak right about a medium rare, thereabouts, if it's about a 1-inch thick steak. So just to kind of test the steak, we're going to pull it out. And you can kind of see what that side of the steak looks. It's nice and seared brown. We're going to pull this thing out. We're going to cut right kind of down the middle here and see if that's about a medium rare. And for most people, medium rare is cold in the middle, seared on the outside, and that's about a medium rare. Okay? Now, if you want your steak to go up to a medium level, what we're going to do, just for purposes here, we're going to cut these into little pieces here. My office. And we're going to cut these into little pieces here. Tell you what, just to kind of speed things up, guys, we're going to cut these pieces into pieces. Okay? And normally, every 20 seconds the steak goes into a hot pan, it elevates the level of the steak. So this is medium rare. If we go 20 seconds back into that hot pan with the lid on top, it's going to go to a medium, and 20 more seconds later, it's going to go to a medium well, and another 20 seconds later, it'll go to a well done. Okay? So we're only looking at about 60 seconds to 80 seconds to being well done from this point right here. And you can kind of see how medium rare these are right here. I'm going to stop at that point to kind of speed things up. We're going to put this back on the iron now. I'd recommend using your handles if those are getting hot with a flame hitting them and stuff. We'll throw those in there. And when you put that lid on there, it captures that smoky flavor in there. We actually are now getting closer to 40 seconds. The steak's at a medium well. We're going to turn it off. And since everybody here wanted their steak well done, we're going to take this off in about the next 15 to 20 seconds, and that'll be a well done steak after just putting it back into the pan. That same steak after about 60 seconds back into the same hot skillet after pulling the lid off. And I'm going to tell you that's going to be very, very juicy, so it's well done. Okay. So now we're going to make a nice broth for this steak. Again, if you add a little wine to deglaze that, I'm going to use about 2 tabs of butter just to kind of go into the bottom of the pan. I'm going to let that kind of go. And also, by making the gravy, it makes the pan easy to clean. Okay. Then we're going to add a little bit of beer. And then we throw in the baby portobellos. And since we had our theme was the Goya seasoning, we're going to add enough Goya seasoning so that transfers over with all the chopped up baby portobellos. And then we added about this much, about 3/4 of a beer. And now we're just going to let this come up to a slight boil and then reduce it to low and then serve it up with our steak gravy. You add your cornstarch to some cold water. The trick is cold water. Stir it till you see none of the cornstarch in the water. It's very totally dissolved. Bring your pan up to almost a medium boil where this is starting to slow boil, and then slowly add this and stir, and you won't have to worry about having any lumpy gravy. If you put the cornstarch just directly in here, it'll lump up on you, or if you don't stir it up in cold water prior, you'll have lumpy gravy. That's where you have to use a strainer to get all the big lumps out, and the way we're doing here, you won't have to worry about it. So I put a teaspoon of cornstarch in here, and probably, I don't know, a 1/4 cup of water, and just stirred it till it was clear, until it was one liquid. And then as soon as this gets hot enough, I'm going to start thickening it just by barely adding this slowly as I stir it. And this is almost to the point where it needs to get thickened now. So I'm going to just kind of slowly add just a little of this.